Alright guys, welcome back to Crunch Time, the show you get the best NBA DFS picks each and every day. Today we have a nice 6-game slate here, joined as always with Chris. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Yeah, good as always. Yeah, let's get into what we usually get into. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm good. Had a good workout yesterday. Did some legs, 10 p.m. workout, actually 11 p.m. workout, so it was good. Gonna go later today again. Did you hit the gym today?
No, I go at night now, so yeah, gonna go later.
Nice. Nighttime workouts are good. I think it's a little less busy. That's why I like going then. But yeah, let's go over some success. I already have it loaded up. Studio is back at 100. Everything's working now, so that's good to see. First up, we have Nick here. What is this? College basketball? Wiggins, Reeves, Suggs. Who do you know here, Chris? Who's your favorite player?
I don't know. That's not a great question there. But yeah, good results here. That's what we're after. We're not after my favorite players.
I'm just wondering if you know any of these guys, because I don't.
But, yeah, I mean, I've watched enough college basketball that I know those guys now.
So do you have a favorite player? That's a good question then.
Probably Suggs. I think he's like the consensus top 3 pick. So probably him.
That's a good answer. Next up, we got Snow here, $40 to 110. This is NBA here, so super solid stuff here. Was this the optimal, Chris? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I don't know. A bunch of people are asking me every day, like, just updates about the optimal, stuff like that. So I don't know what the optimal was. Not sure, but yeah, I mean, it was a good team. I think it was one of the teams up there.
Wait, what do you mean people are asking you about updates about the optimal? Like they're asking if it changes or what?
Yeah, like every 10 minutes they ask if it changes. When they have access to the exact same tool that I have. So I don't know. I don't know.
You do the same thing as everyone else. If there's like news, the projections update, and then you hit build, see if something happens, and then if something changes, you adjust if you like it, or leave it as is, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way to do it. I mean, the whole point is like you don't always have to play Opto 1, right? Like you sometimes play something else. Sometimes you go to 2, sometimes 3, sometimes you make a change, sometimes you make a late swap.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it's not like a lineup selling service that we have going on here. So, I mean, you can play whatever. Like, if you don't like what's in the first build, you don't have to play it. No one has a gun to your head making you play that team. I mean, we can all make our own decisions here. If you trust the projections, trust the projections. If you don't like someone there, we get a lot of hate about guys like Paul George. If you don't like Paul George, there's an exclude button right there.
Who doesn't like Paul George?
I don't know. Everyone doesn't like Paul George.
I don't think I've seen anyone in the Discord say I don't like Paul George. I think it's just you always saying people don't like Paul George.
Okay, go to the NBA channel here. Top right button, search for Paul George. See what comes up.
Let's see. This?
Yep. I don't know. Like, people don't like Paul George.
No one said anything about Paul George.
Why? Scroll down. You can see.
Like how last year?
No, like I don't know. Like maybe we need to find something else. Yeah, you as well. We got Espo there. Search for PG. So he has a nickname. That's why.
The only thing, Paul George needs to exit the bubble. I'm not sure why I said that. PG-13?
No, just PG. Yeah. So I don't know. Just a bunch of people don't like Paul George. Like, I mean, it is what it is. Like, you can scroll down, find more.
I think people like Paul George, Chris.
People definitely don't like Paul George.
Why? What's with the Paul George hate?
What do you mean? You don't think Paul George is hated? Yes, he has to limit. I saw Aiden showed me he has to limit his Instagram comments because he gets so much hate.
Really?
Yes.
What did he do?
He chokes every playoffs.
Yeah, I mean he does that. I mean, lots of players do that though. Yeah. You just love Paul George. That's why you're like hyper tuned to the Paul George comments. 'Cause you love that guy. I think he used to be your favorite player, no?
No, I mean I'm not just saying Paul George. Like there's other guys like Binnington in NHL. So in NHL, Teams just keep playing the same teams over and over this season because of COVID. So I mean, he has the same matchup over and over, so he's always popping. People don't like playing him. They play him anyways for some reason. So I don't know, stuff like that. Like, if you don't like someone, hit that X button and do what you like.
Yeah, I mean, I do that sometimes when there's players like that, but I don't know. I'm trying not to have too many players on my list like that. Gotta have short-term memory. Gotta trust your system. Gotta trust your process more than, I don't know, what happened like a few months ago, a few weeks ago. But yeah, moving on, we have Nick here. What did he do? He did a bunch of NBA stuff.
Oh, I just want to I want to touch on this. So Austin says, "Come on, man, we aren't player smart like you are, Chris. It's not a bad thing to ask for your advice." Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad to ask for my advice. Like, always down to answer questions about players. But when I get questions about like did optimal change, like stuff like that, that's the stuff that I don't love. But I mean, if there's a 2v2, I'll always be glad to answer a 2v2. If there's a question about a certain player, I'll be glad to answer it. But it's more stuff like, oh, did the optimal change? Like stuff like that. Like which optimal do you like more? Like if you want, you could ask me my 2v2 or 3v3 between the top two optimals or whatever. I'll answer that. But I just don't like when people ask me like, oh, optimal 1, optimal 2, what do you like more? Paul George, I don't like him. Why am I getting Paul George? Stuff like that is what I don't love.
Yeah, I mean, like did the optimal change? That's not really like it's not like a question that you answer with any skill.
Yeah.
It's like anyone could answer that if they have access to the tool. So I can see why that you wouldn't want to answer those. Those are kind of, it's like a no skill question, but like 2v2s, player questions, things like that. Then you can kind of chime in with your mid to high stakes knowledge over there, Chris. But
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen one thing that Austin said in the Discord that bothered me once. So this definitely isn't directed towards you, Austin. Like you ask all the, all your questions are definitely valid. It's more stuff that, like I said, it's more stuff like, did the optimal change? Like, why am I getting so much Paul George? Like, I don't want to play Paul George. Like, stuff like that. Like, I'm not forcing you to play Paul George. I'm not talking to you specifically, but just people who say that. People who say Binnington, Kleba, same sort of thing. That's more so the stuff.
I love Kleba.
I don't. Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, like that's the cool thing about having our projections at your disposal and then having our optimizer, because if you don't like a player, you can just make an adjustment there and then see what the next optimal down is. Like if you think Paul George is like 5 points too high, just bring it down 5 points or exclude him or do whatever you want to do, and then you'll get the next best optimal from that. So just things like that. Like it's really straightforward. If you don't like something, or if you think something's a bit too high, if there's a player you don't like, it's really straightforward to just switch him out, do something else, and that might be the right play for the day. Like Chris over here, like he's a good player, but he doesn't have a crystal ball every night. Like he goes with his own process, but nothing wrong with developing your own process as well, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I also want to say, like, if there's a player that you don't like that's popping and you don't know why they're popping, like, I'm more than happy to answer that question. Like, if you ask me, oh, why is his projection so high today? Then I would answer that. But I'm saying more of the stuff like, oh, I hate Paul George. Why am I playing Paul George? Like stuff like that, which is like, oh, if you don't like him, just don't play him. But if you're asking about why he's popping so much, stuff like that, I never mind answering questions like that.
Why was Paul George popping yesterday, Chris?
Well, I mean, we went over it on the show, so. But yeah, I mean, I just want to say, like, advice. I'm always down to give my advice, give my opinion to any questions. But yeah, I think I've said enough here.
We haven't had a rant from Chris like this, guys. I don't think ever in the history of Crunch Time. So this is a nice rant from Chris. Well said though. I think that's valid. Honestly, like my ideal like use case for people is for them to have their own input, as much of their own input as possible. Projections super solid, like as they are, like it's a solid baseline, but I think end of the day, like if you have the sports insight, sports knowledge, you're going to do better than someone who doesn't have that knowledge. Someone who doesn't. You don't think so?
No, I completely disagree with that. Like, if you have biases, you're just gonna get screwed in DFS. So I mean, with knowledge, like, I don't know about that.
Are you just saying run the opto every night then?
Yeah, well, I'm not saying run the optimal, but I'm saying if you have sports knowledge, like, I mean, I don't know. It depends how much weight you're putting on. Like, if you like a certain player, just because you like them, like, that's probably not a good reason to play them.
Well, that's not what I was saying at all, though.
Yeah, but I mean, like, what does sports knowledge mean?
I don't know. Like if you know a team, for example, you know who their next guy down is, and everyone in the industry is high on a particular player, but you think that he's not going to get a run based on the matchup because you know the team. You make a slightly different adjustment, or there's a close 1v1 and you pick a different one that's maybe opto 2, things like that. Not like, oh, I love the Toronto Raptors, so I'm just going to lock in Chris Boucher every single night. Not like that.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, like, in the entire industry, like, projections account for all of that. So I mean, like, yes, I think yes and no. Like, it could go both ways.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, let's go keep going here. I think we went over this one. We had Nick here, and we have you. 1,400 to 3K. Should we load up your DK1, Chris, right now?
We could do it after we just go over everyone here.
Yeah. Then we have Mike here, 58, 120, doubled up there. Awesome stuff. Nick here again, 50 to 100. NHL, good lineup there. We have me playing low. I'd say this is no to low stakes DFS here for me. Pretty close though to a takedown here. I think 10th place out of, I don't know how many that was, but it was pretty fun playing back on FanDuel. Contests there are obviously bigger than in Europe, so it's fun. I'm going to start playing there today. What else do we have? We've got Dakota here, 260, 500 with the loading thingy still here. Still a solid screenshot though. A little nitpicking for me. Definitely worse ones. We've seen a lot worse. That's not bad at all, so it's good. Turn and burn here. Some sort of secret DraftKings VIP contest. Illuminati over here. I don't know what this is. I've never been invited to a VIP contest. Chris, how many VIP contests have you done?
DraftKings they don't like me too much, so haven't been in any of those. But yeah, more of a FanDuel thing for me. They like me more over there.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome though. Turn and burn 20th out of 1.2K, VIP only. So obviously all the sharp heads are in here. That's super solid. 20th out of 1,200 sharp players. If I had to guess, it's probably only sharp players, right, Chris?
Not necessarily. It's just people that blow a lot of money. Like, it could be probably sports bettors get in there. But yeah, I mean, Turn and Burn obviously plays pretty high stakes. Got a ticket to the big tournament tomorrow, which is pretty cool. I think it's 2,000 people, million to first. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah. I think we got a nice slate tomorrow, so that's definitely exciting stuff.
Yeah, we'll be ready for that one. So we'll have some good content. We'll make sure our projections are super sharp for that day. So we'll be on top of it. So excited for that one for him. But yeah, I love to see it. He's making good money here, so that's awesome. Second place in this one, $100. I think, is this the same lineup? Yeah, this is the lineup here. Is this the optimal, Chris? Do you know? Somewhat.
Yeah, so this is the same team that Snow had. I mean, yesterday there was a lot of changes because Tatum and Brogdon and Turner were ruled out after the 5 p.m. games. So there was a lot of strategy yesterday.
Yeah, but this looks like a lot of the solid plays from yesterday. So solid lineup there, good construction overall. More screenshots from him, NBA stuff, awesome as always. Espo loves the four stack Minnesota. Is that what we have?
Nope.
No. Oh, Milwaukee. That's what he's talking about. We have it. I think 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there you go. Then we got Aiden here, NHL stuff, main slate, single game. It's going crazy. DK is this main slate, NHL, NBA main slate, NBA night slate, DK, NBA single slate, another single slate, another single slate, NHL, and then college basketball showdown as well. Going off there, so doing a lot of stuff in the DFS world. Let's load up your DK one, Chris. So where's that? This one here. 340.75, 340.75. Get into it, Chris. What are your thoughts here? What's your analysis?
Yeah, so yesterday, like I said, we had the news on Turner and Brogdon that we were waiting on. So there were some decisions here. That's why I didn't end up playing Karl Anthony Towns, because I wanted just to have a full unlocked roster going into the 6 p.m. games. So that's what I had. Obviously, this news came out after 5 p.m., which was when the Cat game locked. This is all my local time. So yeah, I got that news. Ended up Brogdon and Turner ended up being out. So we were all on TJ McConnell. And then it was announced that he wasn't starting. So we got off of him. Got on to Marcus Smart here, who was the same price. So yeah, that backloading yesterday was pretty key, I think. Obviously, that lineup we saw with Cat that a few other people had actually did better. I think it's this 343.75 team in 10th place ahead of me. So I think there was like maybe a 2v2, like Cat and who was there? Can you just click on that 10th place team? Yeah, so I think it was actually a 3v3. It was like Graham, Connaughton, and Cat versus Smart, Zoo, and Van Vliet. So yeah, this was like the main decision yesterday. If you picked Cat going into that 5 p.m. game, then you probably would have landed on this 10th place team on the left with our projections. If you didn't, probably landed on this right team. Both did well. So I mean, yeah, pretty good stuff here on DK.
Yep. Also says Tatum was also ruled out at that time, Chris.
Oh yeah, and then we got the news that Tatum ended up being ruled out. So I actually had Tatum going into this 6 p.m. game. So I had to switch him to Van Vliet here, and then Marcus Smart obviously became a good play. So that's why I picked Marcus Smart. Kemba was missing as well. But yeah, that was a big thing as well. So yeah, backloading yesterday was definitely the way to go.
Yep. The way they do it in the Euro DFS site, they don't have late swap, but they have like a safety net. So if you had a Tatum, it would give you the next guy in the same position, one price lower. So not on the same team even. So I think yesterday, if you had Tatum, it dropped you down to Paul George, I think, afterwards. What do you think of that sort of late swap, like handling it like that? Is that annoying? Do you like that more? I kind of like setting it and forgetting, but at the same time, I feel like with late swap, if you're like a serious player, definitely plays into your advantage. More strategy involved this way.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on the way they do it there. I think it's fine. The way I think it should be done is if a player is ruled out, they should just be like unlocked. So even after their game starts, that you should be able to switch them. So like let's say Van Vliet here was ruled out. Like he should just be unlocked until the slate ends. So that's what I think. Like if a player's ruled out, just unlock them instead of having them lock right when their game starts. Just because I don't know. I think that would be a better way to late swap.
And then you can only pick guys who haven't started, obviously, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like if you miss the Van Vliet news that comes out, I don't know, a minute before his game starts, you still have the next set of games that you could swap to.
And then if you like, let's just say you are away and you had Van Vliet, there were like 3 games after, but you didn't switch it, you would end up with the 0.
Yeah, but I mean, like if he gets ruled out a minute before lock, and then there's another set of games an hour after that, that's plenty of time. Like if you don't switch, then you're probably, I don't know, I guess you're not really playing DFS properly on late swap sites.
Yeah, kind of like that idea, actually. That's interesting. We've had some different things before. I think we had like lowest score dropped before. Was that kind of to address late swap things like that, or yeah,
Yeah, but that was just awful. Like, I
yeah, it
mean,
was.
it made it so you had to pick two. It was on FanDuel, so you had to
Yeah,
pick two minimum price guys.
I remember that.
Because like if your 10K guy gets ruled out and he's the lowest score dropped, like you're still fucked because he's your 10K guy. The rest of your lineup is going to be a lower salary than someone else who has their 3K guy dropped.
Yeah,
So I
I
mean,
remember that. That
I didn't
was
like that.
definitely an interesting time on FanDuel. Like you said,
Yeah,
like you just had to pick two scrubs and just kind of. I mean, it was kind of like a freebie. Like get like a crazy value guy, one of two, get them right, and then that's it.
yeah,
So
but I mean, like even if you had a value guy, like you wouldn't want him as your drop because he's your value guy that's projected to play well. So you would need like if you had two value guys, you would need a third value guy or like a third guy who's cheap that you're expecting to drop.
yeah,
So I mean, it wasn't bad. Like there's different strategy
is it kind
involved.
of like
So
you get like one GPP crazy pick in a lineup?
sort of like, I mean, you would just punt a position that kind of sucks, and spend up for studs for the most part, and then play your value guys as well that you project to do well. And then if your punt does better than one of your value guys, you're good. But most of the time, you would expect your punt to kind of suck.
Yeah, I kind of like your late swap idea. Unlock the guy. Did you come up with that yourself, Chris?
No, I've seen that before. I'm not sure what the problems with that would be. I guess if a player is ruled out, but then it ends up being ruled back in, there could be problems. But yeah, I'm not sure what other problems there could be. I'm probably missing some. I mean,
But I mean,
if
if
there
he's
weren't
ruled
any
out
problems,
and then
I think
back
they would
in,
implement it already.
pardon?
I said if there weren't any problems with that, then I think they would have implemented something like that already.
Yeah, I mean, interested to hear what the problems are. But I feel like if he's ruled out and then back in, you could just leave him in there, no?
Yeah. Um, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe someone in the chat will have an opinion on why that's not a good way to late swap.
could you just pick like a lineup of only ruled out guys? And well, I guess that could kind of,
Then
how
that's
there's
the
like
same
Rudy
thing.
Gobert yesterday. People played him and they weren't sure if he was going to play. Like, would
Oh, he
everyone
was
just go Rudy Gobert then?
no, because I mean, it's the same thing as if you like we knew he was playing before that game started, so it would have been no difference. But Rudy Gobert ended up crushing, so that was pretty cool. I think he went for 70 or something.
Yeah, I had a lot of Rudy Gobert over in the EuroLeague. Did well. It's good. Good to see. So that was a good call by you, Chris. Let's go over some FanDuel. So we have your FanDuel one. I don't think you posted your thing there. Did you just break even kind of there?
No, I think I lost a little more than half. I had some head-to-heads that I ended up winning, which kind of saved me. But yeah, so here on FanDuel is where I went wrong completely. I was saying on the show that I probably wasn't going to lock in Garland. He was the first game. Ended up locking him in, which I think was the wrong decision. Could you just click on Rubio here and Garland, both of them? Yeah, so I mean, they're both 5.5K here. Obviously, this is a 1v1 between these two lineups. The Rubio one ended up winning. Garland one ended up losing. But I think what I should have done here is kind of fade Garland in the first game because I wanted to wait for the Brogdon news because TJ McConnell here would have been a great play, or he ended up being a great play with Brogdon out. But what I should have done is, well, the thing is actually, so I was running builds with projections as if Brogdon was out, so TJ McConnell, I bumped him up a lot. And the builds that were changing, like they weren't changing much. Like this Garland team was still popping a lot. So that's why I ended up running this team. But in hindsight, I should have took out Garland here, and then if we got the Brogdon news before 5 p.m., that's when this Rubio game locked. I should have went to Rubio. I mean, if we didn't get that news, I would have went to Rubio and just played that team with just a 1v1 between Rubio and Garland. And then if we got the news, I obviously would have switched to whatever team with TJ McConnell. That's what I should have done. but I didn't do that. I just kind of played Garland here just because I couldn't find a TJ McConnell team that I liked more, even if I projected him for the same as Garland. So I ended up playing this Garland team, and it didn't really work out.
Yeah. I mean, was Rubio expected to get 38 though?
I mean, he's been playing really well. Like, so it was definitely a viable. Like he was higher owned here. It was just much smarter to kind of wait for that news, wait until 5 p.m. If we didn't get the news, just play Rubio there. If we did get the news, obviously switch to the Pacers. But yeah, that's what I should have done there, and it ended up costing me.
Yeah, I hate seeing Ricky Rubio put up 3-pointers. Like I sometimes watch the Timberwolves and I see him like open in the corner, and teams just dare him to shoot, and he just shoots it. Like, just looks so bad. Like I don't know. It looks like he doesn't know how to shoot. Like he's kind of forcing something, and you can always tell like a few seconds before when he's gonna shoot it, and if it goes in, I'm always super surprised. I don't know what his percentages are, but it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it there. Let's see what we got in the chat. I think we got a lot here. Let's just see who's in here. I got Justin in here. Got Brant, got Turner, David, Austin, Rondo, Wendy. What else? I think that's it. Welcome, guys. Some comments. I think Wendy's saying, told Chris PG-13 was too shaky, and I value Chris's opinion.
Yeah. He only got us 27 or something, so yeah, I guess I was kind of wrong there, but he only scored 8 points, which was kind of unexpected. Like if he scored 20 points, would have got 40 fantasy points. So I mean, it is what it is. Ended up not working out there. But yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like I said, coolest thing is you can make adjustments, play around with the optimizer, see what you get. So there's that. But yeah, let's get into this slate here, Chris. 6 games today. Let's see if there's any good ones. Looks like there's some good ones here. Brooklyn, Portland looks like it could be a late night hammer. What's your favorite news here today? Favorite teams to target? Any favorite plays so far?
Yeah, so it's Brooklyn with Kyrie out. Obviously, KD's out. Harden's questionable, so that's going to be something that we have to watch out for up until that game starts. I mean, I expect him to play. I have him on the cover, have him on both sides currently, just because he's going to be an awesome play. If he ends up playing, which I do think he does. But yeah, that game is the one that stands out for me.
Got it. Okay, let's get into it. First up, we have the Denver Nuggets against the Orlando Magic. Denver's side, first, we have Monte Morris out, Gary Harris out, Greg Whittington questionable, and then projected starters, Jamal Murray, Will Barton, Michael Porter Jr., Paul Millsap, and Nikola Jokic. Anyone here that you like, Chris?
Not too much here. Like this game has the largest spread on the entire slate at 8 points, favoring the Nuggets. Monte Morris is out. He's been out for a while. So Will Barton has been playing well. He's been playing more minutes. Michael Porter Jr. has also been playing very well. Jokic, obviously, always in play, but he's just a little expensive for me. It's hard to get there on this slate where I'm trying to prioritize Harden. And then I'm just trying to prioritize Harden, so it's hard for me to get to Jokic here today, but I do think he's a decent tournament option. The offense runs through Jokic there, so I like him. The guy I'm interested in on DK for value is actually Paul Millsap. He's 3.9K over there. He's been starting, obviously. Minutes went up to 30 last game, which was encouraging to see. The production wasn't there, but the minutes were there, which is all I really care about for a value guy on a slate like this where we don't have great value overall. So I think Paul Millsap is a decent play on DraftKings for 3.9 as a value guy. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, not too much interest in the Nuggets here. Never like targeting the Magic. They play slow. So just Paul Millsap here for value in cash games. And then if you want to play someone like Barton or Michael Porter Jr. in that mid-range, I don't have problems with that either.
Yep. Orlando side, we have Cole Anthony out, Mo Bamba out, Jason Randall questionable, and Terrence Ross questionable. Projected starters: Michael Carter Williams, Evan Fournier, Aaron Gordon, Alfred Camino, and Nikola Vucevic. I think Aaron Gordon, I think I remember seeing he requested a trade on Friday. I think we just made it public on Monday. Not 100% sure there. Any concerns with him maybe being benched or not playing today, Chris?
Yeah, I have no idea. I think he's going to get traded. So I mean, you could take it both ways. Like you can say they're going to be more cautious with him. You could say they're going to try to showcase him more. I think it's the latter. I think they try to showcase him more. He's 6'3" on FanDuel, so that's a really good price tag. DraftKings 6'9", which is a little too expensive for me, but I like that price tag on.
Before you go on, just got confirmation here. Chasson Randall is out. I had him as questionable a second ago.
Yeah, so did we get Terrence Ross news?
Let me open up the Twitter machine. T. Ross, sore right knee. All out. Yeah, T. Ross, Randall, and Bamba all out.
Yeah, so Fournier, he gets a bump here, but he's a little expensive. He's been playing well. 6'6" on both sites. Maybe Michael Carter-Williams, 5'3" on TK, 4'7" on FanDuel with no chase on Randall behind him. Don't hate that play, but I think the guy that I like the most here is Aaron Gordon. Like they kind of run him in the backup point guard role in these situations, so I like that. So I like him. Makes me like him more on FanDuel here for 6.3K. Yeah, like I said, I'm not really worried about anything with his trade. If he gets traded mid-game, like, I mean, if that happens, I'll deal with it. I think it's a good spot here for Aaron Gordon, so I like him on FanDuel.
Okay. Let's get into the next game. We have LA Lakers against the New Orleans Pelicans. LA side, Marc Gasol out. Obviously, LeBron James out, AD out as well still. Projected starters: Dennis Schroeder, Caldwell Pope, Kyle Kuzma, Markieff Morris, and Marc Gasol. Actually, why do we have Gasol's out, right?
Isn't he questionable?
I see health and safety until 3/26, so 3 days from now. But then I have him in the projected starting lineup, so I'm a little confused now.
Yeah, I think the last game he was questionable with conditioning.
Yeah.
Let me see, Marc Gasol. Yeah, I don't think we know yet. It seems like it's to be determined.
Okay, yeah, so questionable. I do have him projected at the 5 slot to start if he's in. Yeah, thoughts on the Lakers, Chrissair? We haven't seen LeBron there last game, so kind of have an idea of how they're playing, but don't think we needed to see that game to see what they would do. But yeah, who do you like here? Is Kuzma a decent player, way too expensive, or what?
Yeah, Kuzma's good for me here. I think the main guy I like is going to be Montrezl Harrell. He's 6'8" on DK, which is a really good price tag. FanDuel is too expensive at 7.7 for me, so I don't love that. But I think on DK he's very interesting at 6.8K. Probably one of the staples in my cash game lineups there on DraftKings. And then Kuzma, he's a decent play, like 6'8" on DK, 6'5" on FanDuel. I have no problems playing that. It's a good matchup here, obviously, against the Pelicans. So it's not like last time when they were playing the Phoenix Suns. So I like the matchup here. So I have no problems playing Kyle Kuzma. THT, he got priced up to 6K on FanDuel, 5.5 on DK. So we don't have too much interest in him here. I think he makes for a pretty interesting tournament option, especially on DK where he's cheaper. We've seen the upside that he has. If he ends up starting, then he'll probably be in play in cash games. But if he's off the bench, I think it's going to be tournament only for me. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like Schroeder, I guess you can go to Schroeder, but they priced him up as well. Caruso and Markieff Morris, they're fine for value if you're landing there. But I don't love it at the same time. So I think it's going to be Harrell on DK for the most part. Then Kuzma, I'm fine with him on both sites as well.
Okay. Pelicans side, we have JJ Redick out for them. Lonzo Ball questionable. I think there's some trade rumors there for Lonzo Ball. I think I saw Denver.
Do you think Drummond's going to get traded to the Lakers or end up on the Lakers after a buyout?
I hope not. I hope he ends up. He needs to be on a team where he's the go-to guy.
The thing I'm saying is, if he ends up on the Lakers, like everyone's gonna love him. Like LeBron's going to put him in his place, not let him do too much, and then he's just going to turn into like a monster rebounder, alley-oop finisher, screen setter. Like he's not going to handle the ball as much. So if he ends up on the Lakers, I think his not his narrative, his public perception will change a lot. I think everyone will start to like him.
Yeah, people would like him more than Paul George for sure. Yeah, I mean, do you think he would still produce decently there? I guess if AD.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, I mean, if he gets bought out, he'll probably have like a few weeks without LeBron and AD. So, I mean, he could be in that role that you love there. But I think if AD is out, LeBron is in, he'll probably still be a decent player, probably like a 35 to 40 fantasy point guy. But if LeBron and AD are in, I would probably say he's like a 30 to 35 fantasy point guy. But I think people like him a lot on the Lakers.
Yeah, I mean, 30-35 is decent still. We know his upside. He could be like a 45 to 50 guy on a bad team, which is what I would prefer, but I don't know. I don't know if I would like that. But we just did Lakers. Wait, did we didn't do the projected starters here. Projected starters for the Pelicans, we have Lonzo Ball, Bledsoe, Ingram, Zion, and Adams. Any interest there, Chris?
Not too much interest. I mean, I never liked targeting the Lakers. They do have a decent implied team total at 114. So I don't mind playing some of these top guys like Ingram and Zion. I'll try to probably play the cheaper guys. So I prefer Ingram a little bit. He's 1K cheaper on both sites. So he's 7.8 on DK, 7.6 I think on FanDuel. So I don't mind Brandon Ingram. Obviously, it's a revenge game here as well. So I don't hate that narrative. But yeah, I'm not too high on the Pelicans here. If I had to pick one guy, it would be Ingram. But yeah, I'm not, like I said, not too high on them.
Okay. Let me load up the next game. Might need to stall. I think we gotta update our site a bit. Something's a little funny. Might be related to all of the historic data because we're starting to add it for all the other sports. I think a few things are missing now, like the salary, but let me close that up. David Cruz saying Michael Carter-Williams, big minutes, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that's not good about that, like that spot, is the game environment. But yeah, with no chase on Randall, like I expect probably 34 minutes here from MCW. And I think he's 4.7 on FanDuel, 5.3 on DK. So I mean, if you're landing there as the last piece, I don't mind it. But yeah, for me, I don't know yet. Like I think he's a decent play. Never like rostering Michael Carter-Williams. That's the only problem there.
Yep. Yeah, I think next game is ready to go. So we have Washington Wizards against the New York Knicks. Washington's side, we have Davis Bertans out for them. Projected starters, Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, Garrison Matthews, Rui Hachimura, and Alex Len. Who do you like there, Chris?
So this is kind of like a tricky situation. So on the Wizards side, it's one of the worst pace down spots, and then on the Knicks side, it's one of the best pace up spots. So I have no interest here in the Washington Wizards, other than someone like Rui Hachimura on FanDuel, where I think he's 5.2K. He's been playing heavy minutes recently. Played 40 last game, 39 the game before, 37, 36, 38. So been playing 36 plus minutes in his last 5. So I like the price tag on FanDuel. Don't love the matchup, but I think that price tag works in cash games. But like I said, I don't love the pace down spot for these studs, so I don't want to play with Russell Westbrook or Bradley Beal here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like Rui Hachimura on DK is 6K, so that's too expensive. I think it's more of a FanDuel play there.
Gotcha. Knicks side, we have Austin Rivers out, Manuel Quickley probable, Alfred Payton questionable, Derrick Rose questionable, and Mitch Robinson marked as in. Projected starters, Alfred Payton, RJ Barrett, Reggie Bullock, Julius Randle, and Nerlens Noel. The last game the Knicks played, was that against the 76ers OT? Yeah, that one killed me in my head-to-heads. Lost a good sum of money with that Randle three-pointer. Tobias Harris, I didn't have him, so Tobias Harris had some extra OT minutes. kind of killed me, so I'm bummed out about that. But as you said, it's an interesting game here because facing the Knicks, pace down, facing the Wizards, pace up. Anybody here that you're interested in, Chris, facing the Wizards on the Knicks side?
So it's like more of it's just one guy here for the most part, and again, it's on FanDuel where his price is lower. RJ Barrett for 6.2K. His minutes have been very high recently. Obviously, Rose and Peyton have missed a lot of games recently, and I think they're both expected to be back today. But I still like RJ Barrett here a lot in this spot against the Wizards. I don't think they'll cut his minutes too much. Like he plays the 3 for them, plays the 2 as well. So I don't think he's going to be directly affected by it. But I still expect him to get probably at least 36 minutes, maybe 38. We've seen them run him into the ground, so I think today could be no different. I like the matchup a lot. So if he gets those 36 minutes at the very least, I think he could pay off this 6.2K price tag on FanDuel. So that's the main guy for me in cash games. In tournaments, Julius Randle is one of my favorite plays. I don't think he's going to be very popular. He's 10K on FanDuel, 9.9 on DK, I think. But I love the matchup here. He's been playing very well, doing everything for them. Derrick Rose and Alfred Payton back hurts him a little bit, but same sort of thing as RJ Barrett. His minutes aren't going to take a huge hit, so the production might take a slight hit, but at the same time, he's had a really strong season all year, even with those guys in. So I like Randall a lot in tournaments tonight.
Yep. David Cree is asking about Alex Len, Chris. We didn't touch on him when we went over the Wizards.
I mean, yeah, I don't know how I feel about Alex Len. Like, for me, it's going to be a stay away spot here against the Knicks. They have 2 really good defensive bigs in Mitch Robinson and Nerlens Noel. So I don't love the matchup for him. Like, he's been playing well recently, but in his 2 big games, he played against Sacramento, one of our favorite teams to target. Then he played against Brooklyn, another one of our favorite teams to target. So this time he's playing the Knicks, who we don't love to target. So I don't love it here. Like, if you're playing FanDuel and need a cheap center, kind of preferred James Wiseman for 3.7. He's back today. And then on DK, Alex Len is 3.9. Kind of prefer someone like Nick Claxton for 3.9 there. So yeah, I don't love Alex Len here. I think maybe in a tournament and you want to take a shot, kind of chase the upside, I don't mind it. But personally, I'm probably going to be off of that.
Okay, fair. Makes sense. Next game, Phoenix Suns, Miami Heat. Let's go over Phoenix first. We got Abdel Nader, probable tag for him. Projected starters, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Bridges, Crowder, and Ayton. Who do you like there on the Suns, Chris?
Yeah, not really anyone here on the Phoenix Suns for me. Maybe one guy for value on FanDuel. He's kind of been a value play for a long time. Jay Crowder, 3.9K. So his price tag is probably $500 too cheap here on FanDuel ever since he rejoined the starting lineup. So I don't mind him here today. Sort of a last piece sort of thing on value. On FanDuel as value. So that works for me. Other than that, I don't want to pay for the studs here. Maybe Bridges in the mid-range. Don't mind that in tournaments. Yeah, for the most part, it's going to be Jay Crowder here for value on FanDuel.
Yep. No mention about the revenge narrative for Crowder, Chris?
Oh, that's true as well. That makes me like him even more. So, yeah, on FanDuel, definitely Jay Crowder.
Yeah. I know Layden would like that one. Turner's asking, what are your thoughts on Harden and his tag being that it's a late game? What do we do if he's out?
So I know Turn and Burn is a DK guy. So on DK, you're not getting Dame Lillard there on DK. So you have a swap right there if Harden ends up being ruled out. I think that Harden ends up playing here. Like, he doesn't miss many games. He loves playing. So, and then he also came back from the injury. He got injured right before halftime last game, and then played the second half. So I think he ends up playing here. If he doesn't play, you still have some high priced guys you could pivot to. You have the Sixers game also starting at 10 Eastern, so you can swap to someone like Simmons, Harris. You'll have a bunch of high priced guys that you'll be able to swap to. Obviously, it won't just be a 1v1. It'll be probably 3v3, 4v4, depending on how many slots you have available. Yeah, a bunch of these Nets guys would become more in play. But the good thing is that you'll have other studs that you could pay for, so you won't have to leave salary on the table.
Yep. Nets guys counter +1 for the day. I like it. Um, so it wouldn't be like a 1v1. You would want to, like, if it's a concern, make sure you have like three or two slots available for those late games, right?
I don't know. It's kind of tough. Like these other guys on the Nets are already popping because Kyrie is out. Like Bruce Brown, he would be a lock. Well, he's already a lock, but he would be a lock if Harden was out. So I don't know. Like it's kind of tough to say, but the thing is that you have safety if Harden is ruled out, just because you'll have someone to swap to. On FanDuel, it's a little harder. You might be a little screwed if Harden ends up being ruled out. You might have to like switch 1v1 to CJ McCollum and leave a bunch of money on the table. So that will be more. That'll matter a little more over there, I think.
So maybe be a bit more strategic about your kind of backloading, like you always say, if you are concerned about it, or like I don't know. I guess.
Yeah. So I can go over it quickly. That's why on FanDuel I kind of prefer playing James Wiseman at center, just because he's cheap. If Harden ends up being ruled out, I can go down to, I think CJ McCollum is the next highest shooting guard there. Maybe Andrew Wiggins as well, because those games start at the same time. So we can go down to Andrew Wiggins, and then Wiseman obviously starts at the same time. So we can go up from Wiseman to probably Cantor, who's the most expensive center, starting at that start time. So I think there's definitely going to be viable swaps if that happens. But there's no reason for me to fade Harden in my initial build. Like he's just in way too good of a spot, and I do think he ends up playing.
Yeah, I wouldn't fade him, but I'd be just cautious about that situation. Kind of be aware of it. David Kriya is saying, if Harden is out, would you consider punting with TJ?
TJ?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, Tyler Johnson?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, the thing is, a lot of the value guys you're picking, or I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, yeah, obviously Tyler Johnson would become a great play. Like, if we had a full roster, we would prioritize him in that spot. But like I said, you're probably not going to have a full roster available. You're going to prioritize Bruce Brown over Tyler Johnson most likely. So it's a little hard to say right now.
Okay. Let's go over other half of this Phoenix Miami game. So we just did Phoenix. Talked about Crowder a bit there with the revenge narrative, a bit too cheap ever since he came back in the starting rotation. Other half of this game, Heat side, we have Haslam out for them, Okpala out, Avery Bradley and Goran Dragic also out. Gabe Vincent probable tag. Projected starters, Kendrick Nunn, Jimmy Butler, Duncan Robinson, Kelly Olynyk, and Bam Adebayo. Any interest there, Chris? Actually, wanted to ask you, Aiden's price tag is pretty cheap on DK. Is that the lowest we've seen it this year?
No, I think we've seen it around that range all season. I think I played him a few weeks ago at like 6.2 on DK, or a few days ago. Yeah, so like he's been around that low 6K range recently. I think we went over it last time. His minutes have kind of gone down, but last game he played a lot of minutes against the Lakers. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I don't love him here. Like I said, they play a lot of guys in their rotation. They run Sarge sometimes to close out halves. So I don't know. It's hard for me to play Ayton there. Okay. But yeah, on this Miami Heat side, I never like targeting guys against the Phoenix Suns. I always say that they're a pace down spot, and they play well defensively. But I think on FanDuel, Bam Adebayo here for 8K is pretty interesting. So power forward 1 is kind of ugly today in my opinion. Bam always seems to do well. Like at this 8K price tag, he's hit 5x pretty much every game since February. So he's a little too cheap in my opinion. We've seen him around 9K for most of the season. Now he's 8K. So I think on FanDuel he's a decent play over there at power forward in cash games. And then Jimmy Butler, obviously he's always in play. More of a tournament option today. Don't love it in cash games, but we've seen him have a great year this season. So if you want to go to Jimmy Butler, I have no problems with that.
Okay. Let me load up the next game. We have the 76ers against the Warriors. Philadelphia side, we have Joel Embiid out, Seth Curry out, projected starters Benjamin Simmons, Danny Green, Furkan Korkmaz, Cruncher favorite, Tobias Harris, and Tony Bradley. Who do you like here, Chris, on the Sixers? No Embiid over there.
Yeah, so I think it's mostly Ben Simmons here, who's more of a play for me on FanDuel. He's 8.2K on FanDuel. On DK, I think he's 8.8K, so a little cheaper on FanDuel. I like the matchup a lot for him going up against the Golden State Warriors. I think that's one of my favorite matchups for a guy like Ben Simmons. They play fast. They don't play much defense. So I like him a lot. And then outside of him, like Dwight Howard, I think he's a decent option. Don't really want to go there. He's 6K on DK, 5.4 on FanDuel, so he's more viable on FanDuel. But at the same time, I don't love that play either. So I don't know. I think it's going to be Simmons here for the most part for me on FanDuel. And then on DK, these guys, they're priced up a little more, so we don't need them.
Okay. Other half, Warriors side, we have Steph Curry out ever since he fell. Tailbone injury in the pure metal in the bleachers. Kind of rough. We have James Wiseman in for them, Kevon Looney in, and Eric Pascal in as well. Projected starters Jordan Poole, Kelly Oubre, Andrew Wiggins, Danny Green, and Kevon Looney. Thoughts here on the Warriors, Chris? Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting with Curry being out now for a while. We had interest in Wiggins before. What do you call him? Maple Jordan or something like that? You got a few Canadian nicknames for him.
Maple Jordan, Poutine Pippin. These aren't my nicknames. These are just like popular nicknames for him. But yeah, he's a little priced up. He's 6'6" on DraftKings, 6'8" on FanDuel. So I think the Warriors here are more interesting on DraftKings today. Just because Jordan Poole, who's one of my favorite Warriors with Curry out, he's just way too expensive on FanDuel. He's 6.5K over there. On DraftKings, he's 5.6K, so he's looking like a really solid play over on DK. I like him a lot at the point guard slot. And then maybe James Wiseman. Like I was talking about him a bit before when we were going over the Harden scenario. On FanDuel, he's 3.7K. It's his first game back, I think. Let me see. Yeah, so what day is it today?
Tuesday.
Yeah, so it's his first game back in a week. He had that health and safety protocol thing. So it's his first game back. I don't mind him here in this matchup. Like, I mean, sort of a last piece guy, value guy. And then, like I was talking about with the Harden situation on FanDuel, if Harden's out, we can swap to like Wiggins and then pay up at center to someone like Cantor. So I think Wiseman is a pretty good play here today, just to lock in at that, like lock in a center from the late night hammer. But yeah, other than that, not too much here. Like I don't love Oubre in this spot. Yeah, so Draymond, same sort of thing. Don't love him either. So I think my favorite Warrior is going to be Jordan Poole on DraftKings. That's the price tag that stands out to me across both sites. Wiggins in tournaments, probably my favorite tournament option there. And then on FanDuel, my favorite sort of guy in cash games is going to be James Wiseman just because he's so cheap.
Gotcha. We do have the Orlando starting lineup. Carter Williams, Fournier, Gordon, Minu Vucevic confirmed a minute ago, so good to see Gordon playing. Confirmed to be playing as well, so it's good to hear. Next game, we have the Brooklyn Nets against the Portland Trailblazers. Brooklyn side first, Chris. Nets guys counter is at 1. Maybe we'll hear it a few more times, but we got KD out, Shamet out, Kyrie out. What is this? Alice Johnson out for them, and then James Harden questionable tag. So we already touched on that. Few options there. Maybe we can get into it a bit more, but I feel like we kind of exhausted that topic of Harden being out, pivots, but projected starters right now, we have Harden, Brown, Harris, Green, and Jordan. What are your thoughts here on the Nets, Chris?
So with no Kyrie here, two of these guys are going to be locks for me on both sites. I'll start with James Harden, who's my favorite spend up. Like if he plays here, no Kyrie, no KD in one of our favorite matchup against the Blazers. I think he's going to be an easy lock for me on both sides, both formats. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes for 70, maybe 80 fantasy points in this spot if he doesn't end up playing. And then if he doesn't end up playing, we can make some pivots. Obviously, that will be later. But like I said before, I expect him to play. And then the next lock here is Bruce Brown on both sites. He's 4K on FanDuel, 4-2 on DK. I think he's going to be one of the chalkiest value plays on both sites. So he's an easy lock there for value without Kyrie. And then the next guy is Claxton, who's actually more interesting on DK, 3.9K over there. I think on FanDuel he's 4.6 and listed as power forward. So it's kind of hard to fit him in for that price tag. But on DK for 3.9, he's a lock there for me as well. And yeah, like Blake Griffin, like we saw him play his first game for the Nets last time. Only played 14 minutes, so it's hard to trust him with those minutes. But I think maybe he could be a sneaky option in tournaments if they try to maybe unleash him.
Unleash?
I'm not really expecting that. Like I think they probably play him under 20 minutes here. But if he sees 30 minutes somehow, he'll absolutely crush here without Kyrie. But like I said, I don't really see that happening today with his minutes.
Do you think there's anything to unleash in Blake Griffin, Chris?
Yeah, I mean he's 32 years old. Like he's the same age as Kevin Durant, so it's not like he's like a fossil at 40 years old. He's just 32. We've seen him put up big games this year, last year as well. But yeah, I don't know.
It's fossil fuels. No, I mean, what about his knees? They're so bad. Like I don't think he's in the same. I don't think his body held up as well as the other guys you mentioned.
Yeah, but he's put up big games this season. No Kyrie, like I said. So if he plays 30 minutes somehow, if he gets to start for some reason against the Portland Trailblazers here, I think he could have a huge game. But like I said, it's a very, very deep, sneaky, thin play.
What would a big game be? 36 burger?
Yeah, like 36, 40, 10x, 8x.
Yeah. Don't know if we'll see that, but yeah, it could be sneaky. I like it. I like it when you bring up a sneaky player too. Portland side, Zach Collins out for them. Yusuf Nurkic out for them. Projected starters, Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Derek Jones Jr., Robert Covington, and Enes Kanter. I just love this game. Seems like one of those games where I'm going to end up having a few players in this game, and the people I play against won't have as many players in this game in the tournaments, and I just love that. But who do you like here on the Blazers, Chris?
Yeah, so I think I disagree. I think everyone's going to be on this game. This is the highest over-under game on the slate. The next one is at 220, so I think this game is going to be...
You'd be surprised in the EuroLeague.
Oh. Yeah, well, on these American sites, people will definitely be playing these guys, especially Dame Lillard on FanDuel. He's 9.4K, so they priced him down. He's been playing very well. Get this matchup against the Brooklyn Nets, which we love to exploit with star players. So I think today Dame could have a huge game. Obviously, CJ is back, but he hasn't been playing too many minutes. He's still limited. So I think that Dame will have a really big game here. I like the price tag a lot on FanDuel, like I said. On DK, he's 10K. So he's not really popping as much over there. These Blazers aren't popping as much over on DK. I think they're better plays on FanDuel. So I think the only way we would play these guys in DraftKings Cash is if Harden ends up being ruled out, and we need a stud to go to. But yeah, in cash games, I don't think there's anyone here on DraftKings.
Okay. Let's get into our next segment. 3 gems, 3 key plays of the day. First one being overall favorite play of the day, safest play of the day, all formats. FanDuel first, Chris. It's got to be Harden, I'm guessing on both sites.
Yeah, it's going to be the same guys on both sites. So I'll say Harden. Harden as my top play. And then value, I'll go with Bruce Brown. Same thing, both sites. And then tournaments, I'll go with Julius Randle.
You got to slow down. I think something's up with my browser here. Firefox things. Give me a sec. Okay, I think this should do the trick. Harden, Bruce Brown, and who?
Julius Randle.
Randall. Both sites, right?
Yeah, I think they're my favorite guys on both sites.
Okay, then I guess just do it there. Okay, let me load up the cores here. See what we get. 4 guys in here. So you have Harden, Lillard, Brown, and Jay Crowder. 20. Hit build. Yeah, let's get into it, Chris. So your 4 cores. Tell me what you like about them, and then tell me which lineups you want to go over today.
Yeah, so Lillard here, 9-4. Was just talking about him. Same as Harden and Bruce Brown on the Nets. Was just talking about them. I love them. I think they're going to be the chalk duo there, assuming that Harden plays. And then Crowder at power forward, 3.9K, just opens up salary for the rest of the lineups. So yeah, look at these first 2 builds and then compare those.
Okay. Looks like it's a 2v2.
Yeah, looks like it. So I'll start with just the rest of the lineup here. Dame Lillard, 9-4. I was just talking about that. Simmons, 8.2K. It's a really good price tag without Embiid in this matchup against the Warriors, so I like that. Chalk duo there at shooting guard. Small forward, RJ Barrett, 6'2". Probably my least favorite player in this entire build, but I mean, I'm fine with it in the matchup against the Wizards for 6.2K. I think he could easily hit his projection there. Rui, I like him a lot on FanDuel for 5'2". Been playing a ton of minutes, so that's what I love. And Jay Crowder here locked him in just to open up salary for the rest of the things. And then we have this 2v2, Aaron Gordon, Dwight Howard versus Bam and Wiseman. So this one's kind of close. I think I actually prefer the second side a little more.
Second side's actually number 1. I think I favorited the second one first, so
yeah, fix that. Yeah, so it's kind of what we were discussing earlier with the Harden thing. Like if we get Harden out, we'll be able to swap from down from him to someone like CJ, someone like Wiggins, and then we'll be able to swap up from Wiseman to someone like Cantor. So I think that would be a viable swap if we get that news. So that's why I prefer the first side. It'll leave less salary on the table if we do that, opposed to if we swap from Harden and Howard. Obviously, Wiseman is, I think, $1,600, $1,700 less than Dwight Howard here. So that's the only reason I like the second side more. It just sort of backloads it a little better for the Harden news that we're waiting on.
Yeah. Royal King says, tune in late. You asked about Harden, but you just touched on that here again. So we can get to it on... Let me load up the DraftKings inside. Yeah, anything you want to add about Harden, Chris, for Royal King, or did you just go over it again?
Yeah, so I expect him to play. If he doesn't play, we'll just have to kind of handle that situation once we get there. But I expect him to play here, and I'm not going to fade him in my original build just because the spot is way too good here if he does end up playing.
Okay. So over on DK, core plays there. You have Harden, Poole, Montrez, and Bruce Brown. Get into those, and then tell me which lineups you want to go over, Chris.
Yeah, so Harden and Brown locks, same as FanDuel. They're just my favorite plays overall. And then Poole and Harrell, I like them a lot as well for their price tags.
Okay, and then which one's here?
Let's do 1 and 2.
Oops. Okay.
Yeah, so we have Poole here at point guard.
I think it's the same thing. For some reason, it's reverse order now. Got to check on that. But just keep in mind the second one here is actually Opto 1.
Okay, so yeah, I like Poole a lot here at point guard. Bruce Brown locked him in as well. Ingram here, he's 7'8". Have him in both lineups. It's a decent matchup here for him for this price tag, 7'8". Not my favorite matchup against the Lakers, but I think it's decent. So I don't mind Ingram here. Like we said before, it's a revenge game for him. So that kind of makes me like him a tiny bit more. Paul Millsap here for value, my least favorite play. in this lineup, but I do think he's fine for value over here. If you want to like backload this spot, maybe wait for better value to open up. I don't blame you, but I think Paul Millsap is decent value. We saw him play 30 minutes last game, which was encouraging to see. And then we have Harrell here, 6'8", locked him in. I like him a lot for this price tag. Harden, locked him in. Claxton, 3'9", really good play here. He was near a lock, but I didn't end up locking him just because I didn't want too many nets. But yeah, he's a very good play here on DK for 3'9". And then we have this 1v1, Wiggins versus Kuzma. So yeah, this one's actually really close. I don't know what I like more currently. If I had to decide, I'd probably go with the projections here, just because Kuzma has a better matchup against the Pelicans. Wiggins is playing the Sixers, so they'll probably put Ben Simmons on him, which I don't love, especially when I'm deciding between a 1v1. So I think I like the Kuzma side here more.
Yep. You're gonna load up your bookie odds for the points, rebounds, assists for the two players.
Yeah, we can. I mean, we could do it on your thing here.
Do you want me to send the link, or what do I do?
Just go to sportsbook.draftkings.com. Or I think it's, yeah. I think you have the element blocked. Sportsbook.draftkings.com. Yeah, so then you go to NBA, top left. Click on the. I mean, yeah, you could do it here. So we can scroll down, look for Kuzma. You have to actually go up a bit. Click on points, rebounds, assists. We're on points right now. Yeah, so Kuzma here, 29.5, with the under being the more likely outcome. And then what do we have for Wiggins? Yeah, 26.5, so 3 points lower. Obviously, Kuzma is the juice is on the under there, but this one's even. But I think if Kuzma's line was at like 28.5, it would be even. So I like the Kuzma side there more, and the Vegas agrees there. The reason the projection is similar is because Wiggins gets more steals and blocks, so you got to factor that in as well when you're making these decisions. Some sites actually do have steals and blocks odds. I don't think DraftKings Sportsbook has it though.
Do they?
No, I know they don't have it.
Oh, okay. Okay, I think that's it for today, Chris. Anything else you want to close out with? Anything our viewers, crunchers should know about leading up to the slate here?
Not really. Just make sure you keep an eye out for that Harden news. Obviously, if something happens, we'll update everyone in the Discord. But that's going to be the main news that we're waiting on today.
Yep. Okay, guys, thanks for tuning in as always. We'll be in the Discord as we always are after the show, so if you have questions about the slate here, any 1v1s, 2v2s, anything like that, feel free to ask them in the chat. Chris enjoys the questions. He wasn't calling anyone out in particular at the start of the show, but I think he just wants to have the discussions more skill-oriented, I guess, like DFS-oriented, not which opto to pick. You can just rephrase the question. I think he'll be a bit happier if you just rephrase the same question. You'll get the same result. So there's that. But yeah, if you guys want to try out the optimizer here, if you're new, haven't tried us out yet, go to dfscrunch.com. Link is in the description as well. And you can get yourself a free 3-day trial that includes everything on our site. So all the sports that we have, all the main sports that are running now for DFS, FanDuel, DraftKings, and then all the different slates that are available for all the sports, showdown slates, late night slates, early slates, all the slates, we have them all. So during your trial, you get access to everything. You'll also get our Discord as well. So be sure to go to our site, dfscrunch.com. You don't need a coupon code or anything to get that set up, and you're not charged until after 3 days. So even if you have no intent on paying, recommend you to try it out just for free. Cancel before the third day and just see what it's all about. If you're a DFS player, pretty confident you'll enjoy it. So be sure to try that. And then I think that's it, guys. We'll be back at it tomorrow, 2.5 hours before main slate. Just one housekeeping thing before you guys leave. If you enjoyed the content here, be sure to hit the thumbs up. And then if you are not subscribed, be sure to do that as well. Hit the bell button and every single day we do the show here 2.5 hours before the slate locks. Same format as always, weekends, holidays, every day there's an NBA slate. We'll be here. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate all the comments. See you guys all tomorrow, and good luck today.